We are joined by Sean Ryan. He's the wide receiver coach for the Houston Texans. He was the wide receiver coach for the New York Giants. So he's got an interesting perspective, and the fact that he's not part of that crew anymore, we can just ask him. He can be blunt. I like this. This is going to be a lot of fun. Sean, first things first, Victor Cruz, we're hoping for a return. You worked with him. Do you think he can make a return this year, and what kind of Victor Cruz should we expect if he does?
You know, the best way I can answer that is my experience with Victor from day one when he walked into the place was the guy overcame all kinds of odds from the beginning. So I'll never count the guy out. I can't, and at the end of the day, he had a lot to do with my success there with the Giants and our Super Bowl win that he got us, and so I'll never count him out. The reality of the injury is, it was significant and it's created some other problems for him. I know before the calf injury was starting to bother him, he was looking good. He was moving well. So I felt like he was kind of overcoming the knee thing. He had some explosiveness to him, and so if they can get the calf issue straightened away, I believe he can return.
How good is Odell Beckham Jr.?
He's the best football player I've ever been around.
The best?
Wow.
He's the best. He's the best I've been around at that position. Let me clarify, at the wide receiver position. He is as explosive as they come. He really kind of took his route running to me this year to a different level. He really improved in that and kind of bought into the little nuances of running routes and sticking his foot in the ground and his change of direction that really kind of separated him, as a wide receiver and a good route running wide receiver. So I thought he took some huge steps this year. Even beyond just his natural ability. He's got unbelievable ball skills, as everybody knows. If the ball's near him, he's catching it. I promise you that. So he is right up there with the best I've ever had the chance to work with or even see.
Sean Ryan, wide receiver coach for the Houston Texans, was the wide receiver coach for the New York Giants. So you said he's the best wide receiver you've worked with. I've got to ask the question. We see the superstar aspect of OBJ start to light up a little bit. What exactly happened with the Josh Norman Carolina Panthers game?
I think it kind of escalated to a point, obviously, where it shouldn't have. I think both guys handled the situation in a negative way. Obviously, that showed up. I think it just started from a lot of talking leading up to the game, and kind of went on from there. And to be honest with you, I thought this could have been handled better with the officials and kind of stopping it before it got to that point. But it wasn't handled that way, and it just escalated and unfortunately got to the spot where it became an issue it never should have been. And what happens is, unfortunately, as you guys know, here's two great players, and they went head to head, and it was it turned out to be an unbelievable battle on the field, with Odell scoring that last touchdown over him to tie the game. And all of that is overshadowed by the nonsense on the field. So it's really too bad because the two of them went at it. They're two great players, but it really just kind of escalated to a point, got out of hand, and both guys could have handled it better.
Sean, here on your home for New York sports, we're hoping that the Giants can make a return trip to the playoffs. What can we expect from Ben McAdoo as head coach?
I think, to me, he's a really intelligent guy. He's a good football coach, very detailed, very organized. So I think that stuff like that'll carry over. That'll continue with what Coach Coughlin did there, and Ben's always looking like he's his system is in place. Eli's got 2 years under his belt with it, so he's more comfortable. He's more proficient in it. So I think you'll see it continue to kind of even get smoother and be more explosive and more productive. Ben himself is a level-headed guy with great passion for the game. I think people there will really like him as a head coach, and he's the right type of guy, for the New York Giants to me.
Sean Ryan, Hudson Falls native, now the Houston Texans wide receiver coach. Okay, so OBJ, best wide receiver you've seen. Ben McAdoo, good coach, yet you chose to go to Houston.
Yeah, you know what? And not an easy decision either, I should say that. But, it was one that I felt, at the time I had been with the Giants for 9 years and had a had just an unbelievable experience there with 2 Super Bowl wins and really being a positive thing and being close, obviously, to home. And, in the transition when we didn't really know what was happening with the Giants when Coach Coughlin left, before they hired Ben, there was that time and this job down here opened up and I was able to come down and spend some time with these guys and talk to them and interview with them. And, it just felt like the right situation and it felt like the time to make that change. You get into that time in your career where you're in the same place and you're in the same position, and sometimes you need to shake it up a little bit and change things up, to enable yourself to move forward. So it, again, not an easy decision, but it felt right. And coming down here, you knew you had some good guys to work with as coaches, good guys to work with as players, and an organization that's respected in another top-notch organization.
Sean, I got to warn you, my former co-host, he's from the Texas area. He says, Houston, man, very humid and terrible traffic. You got to be ready for that.
Yeah, no, I've experienced the traffic already. You kind of get a taste of that every day. It's no lie. The weather right now is unbelievable. I'm walking around. When I get down here, it's February, and you don't have to wear a jacket. I'm like, this is great. I'm living the dream. And it doesn't take long for somebody to mention to you, yeah, you'll be living the dream during training camp, buddy. So, definitely the humidity, I think, will be in play when that time comes around.
Leave it to Levac to take us off topic and get us anywhere but football. I want to know, since OBJ is the best wide receiver you've ever worked with, how about DeAndre Hopkins? How excited are you to work with him on the outside?
I'm very excited. I mean, he's another guy, you get in here, and I've had a chance to meet him. And I think he's, from my first impression, seems like a serious guy who's really kind of locked in on getting himself better and being even a better player. And obviously for a guy who's already at the Pro Bowl level and that type of guy, to still be driven and still be hungry to keep on improving, that was really, he made quite a first impression on me in that way. You watch the tape, you put it on, and the guy's, doing great things, and obviously his ball skills are tremendous. He's another guy that if it's around him, he's catching it. And we're gonna work to improve his route running and help him with some of the things that he wants to get better with and move him forward. But it's pretty exciting. I mean, it's you're leaving one great one and going to work with another great one. So that was part of the attraction for sure.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good taste for who you work with. That's for sure. Sean Ryan, Hudson Falls native, wide receiver coach for the Houston Texans. The one thing that the Giants have that the Houston Texans don't seem to have at this point is a franchise quarterback. How does that affect your job?
Well, obviously, you're coaching the receivers, so the guy playing quarterback is obviously very important to that, to the passing game and the production from your position. So, again, as we go through this period and we're going through and the front office and the head coach, Coach O'Brien, making decisions on personnel and where they got to go and what they got to do. And like I said, when I took this job, I knew I was going to work with good football people and a good organization. So I've got every faith that they'll handle the quarterback situation as they see fit. And, when it's all said and done, we'll have the right guy throwing the ball to us. So we'll do our job and they'll do theirs and it'll all work out.
I just blamed Levac for taking us off topic. Well, now I'm going to take us off topic. So the Hudson Falls native, when you come back to the Capital Region, what's the first thing you have to do? What's the first thing you do when you're back in the 518?
When I'm back home, probably one of the first things I do is I get a Mandy's pizza from Hudson Falls, New York. That's easily one of the first things I do. It depends on what time of year it is. If it's in the summer, a trip up to Lake George is not far behind. And then right before I go back to training camp, if at all possible, I am going to opening day at Saratoga.
Ah, well, looky. We may have to, have a cold one with you at opening day at Saratoga.
Yes, I will be there. As long as Coach O'Brien doesn't bring us back before that, you can count on me there making my annual donation to Naira.
Sean Ryan, wide receiver coach for the Houston Texans, Hudson Falls native, nice enough to spend some time with us and break down what was happening in the Giants when he was there, what is happening in Houston. And, man, when you're up this way, please look us up. We would love to spend some time with you.
Will do, guys. I appreciate the time and hope all goes well up there with the New York sports. I'm a big Yankee fan, and I'm interested to see how that season goes, too.
Sean, we're gonna be good. We're gonna be fine. I think we got this.
Sounds good.
All right, brother.